Hi there and welcome to this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. My name is Dave Dubeau and I am your host. And for this week, well, first of all, I hope you're having a great summer. Things are chugging along here in Kamloops. The weather is finally on our side after kind of a slow start. Kids are in summer camps, all that kind of good stuff. Hope you're having a great summer too. What are we doing this week? For our business breakthrough, another mini interview with Dan the Locke, talking about our upcoming webinar at the end of the month on the 30th. You can check that out at CanadianProfitsWebinar.com. For our real estate tip, I'm going to be sharing with you a question that I get from time to time, which is, Dave, how do I get started in creative real estate investing if I have no experience, no money, no investors, no nothing? What do I do? So I'll give you a good tip on how to get started if that's your situation. And for our Mindset Minute, it's part 2 of what I thought was my mini stroke experience. You remember I kind of left you on a cliffhanger last week? Well, we'll wrap that up this week. Stay tuned. Hi again, everybody, in Canadian Profits TV land. This is Dave Dubeau, again with our good friend Dan the Locke. And Dan, great to have you on the show via Skype. My technological capabilities absolutely amaze even me sometimes, I tell you. Hopefully this works.
Are we on? I question about that.
Exactly. So Dan, we're talking about creating credibility and being perceived as experts. What is the number one mistake you see people making when it comes to, selling their products or their services, or in the case of real estate investors, trying to attract money partners or trying to convince property sellers to sell properties to them? What's the big mistake you see people making when they're trying to do this kind of thing?
I think the biggest mistake that people make is they focus on the what versus the who. So the what, they're focusing, okay, I've got this great investment, I've got this great opportunity, I've got this great product, I provide great service. What it is that they do, and they spend a lot of time improving what it is that they do. Well, let's make my product better. Let's make my opportunity better. Whatever it is, instead of working on the who they are. I mean, a great example, you look at Donald Trump. Donald Trump gets $1 million for a speaking gig. There are speakers who get $1,000 or $10,000 as for a speaking gig. Now, is Trump 100 times better speakers than the other speakers? No, because Trump is who he is. That allows me to command that kind of a fee. So who you are is way more important than what you do. And this is not pleasant because most people, they want to improve what is it they do. But if they can just spend a little bit more time on working on who they are, promoting themselves, their personality, elevate their status, I think they would have a much higher chance of success. And I believe, and I want to leave you with one thought, is this: visibility is way more important than ability. Visibility is way more important than ability.
Good point. And so if somebody's watching this right now and they're saying, well, yeah, that kind of makes sense for you, Dan. You're this internet guru guy, and you got a great story. You came from Hong Kong and didn't speak English and all that kind of stuff. But what about little old me? I've got an auto mechanic shop in rural Alberta, for example, or I'm a beginner real estate investor just kind of getting started. How can I possibly try and put myself up on a higher level? It just doesn't feel legit.
Yes, and keep in mind, when I came here, I was nobody. So knowing that from nobody, I made myself into somebody. And there are very specific strategies for that. As an example, being a somebody, it doesn't matter what it is that you do, a plumber, a mechanic, it doesn't matter. I'm not saying that you want to be like a celebrity like Donald Trump. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you want to position yourself as the authority, as the expert, as the go-to guy in whatever it is that you do. And maybe not even on a national scale, maybe just in your town or in your city. Just that alone would make a difference. By being out there, by acting as if you're somebody, by doing what somebody does. Example, Trump is a speaker. So as a speaker, naturally, by being in front of a room, you command more authority. That helps. By associating yourself with other experts, that helps. By getting endorsement from other experts, that helps. By being published, writing articles, example, in the Canadian Profit, that helps, right? all these being in print, that helps. So there are a lot of these things that you could do, which truly doesn't really cost any money, but it does require a little shift in thinking.
That makes a lot of sense. So we're going to be putting on a no-cost web training event. Tell us a little bit about that. What's it called, and why should people register right away for that?
Yes. So Dave and I, we are going to conduct a one-time only web event later in July. And Dave, you can give out the date. It's called The Hidden Secret. So if you've been thinking about, you know what, I've been working on pursuing on the path of financial independence, and you have read all the books, you've attended the seminars, but deep down you felt something is missing, something is not quite clicking, and you can't quite pinpoint what it is. Well, that's what we're going to reveal on this special web event. I think you'll be very surprised of what the solution is and what the answer is.
That sounds great, Dan. So again, this is going to be on Tuesday, July the 30th, starting at 6 p.m. Pacific. To get registered for that, please go to CanadianProfitsWebinar.com. So there should be a web address below this, or a link there, or a link there, or someplace, wherever Wagner puts it. Make sure you get registered right away. So who is this event for, Dan? Is it, like, we got a lot of people who are either small business owners, or they're real estate investors, or maybe they're got a home-based thing, like a network marketing type program. Who's this really for?
I wish I could say it's for everybody. I don't think it's for everybody, but I think it's for people who are, if you have a quality product or service, like if you're selling crap, that doesn't work. But if you truly have a good quality product or service, or an opportunity or an investment, and you've tried a lot of different marketing techniques and networking and all that stuff, it still doesn't quite work for you, and you're looking for something that actually works to get your business out there, to get your name out there, to elevate your status, to kind of position, to be an authority. You want to be authority in your industry. That's who this webinar is for.
Very good. Looking forward to seeing you on that, Dan.
Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, so for our real estate tip, how do you get started in creative real estate investing if you've got no experience, no money, not very many contacts, even your credit might not be that great, you might not have investors lined up? Where do you start? How can you get started with real estate investing in that situation? Well, the answer is bird dogging. Now, what does a bird dog do? A bird dog is kind of like if you've been a hunter, or you've seen movies where they've got the hunters out there shooting at ducks or geese or what have you, and the bird dog goes out and grabs the goose out of the water once it's been shot. That's where that originates from. So how does that apply to real estate investing? Well, a bird dog in real estate investing goes out and finds potential deals and brings those potential deals to an actual experienced investor, passes them on to the investor for a fee. So in this case, what I suggest you do is you go out and you look for quote-unquote distressed single-family properties. So these are properties around town that are probably not advertised for sale, but you can tell that there's something not quite right with the property. The grass is overgrowing, it looks like it's abandoned, it could be a vacant property, could look like a rental but really kind of run down. These are all potential possibilities for deals. So as a bird dog, what you do is you take pictures of the property, you take down as much information as you can. An ideal kind of a property is something that's a for sale by owner, so it's got some crappy little, sign from Walmart or something like that. So you take all these pictures and you get as many details as you can about the property, and then you create a little file and you pass that on to the actual investor. And typically what I suggest you do with this is you charge a fairly low fee per potential deal, let's say $15 or $20, just to get them the information, and have another bonus, let's say a $500 bonus, if they actually do a deal and buy that property. So that's a way for you to get out, going around town, checking out properties, talking to homeowners or people that are living in the properties. If it's vacant, you talk to a few neighbors, get some information, and just try and get the inside scoop on these potential deals. That'll set you up for A, creating some income while you're doing this, and more importantly, B, for getting some experience yourself on finding these really, really good deals. That's your real estate tip for this week. All right, so wrapping up our Mindset Minute, the story I started last week, which was I went in for my workout, my CrossFit workout, came out, I was all loopy, I couldn't remember things, I was, really confused, more confused than usual, and I went to the hospital with my wife thinking I might have had a stroke because at my age and physical condition, all that kind of stuff, it is a possibility. So luckily, it turned out it wasn't a stroke. I went to emergency, they did the whole scan thing of the brain and the whole bit and took my blood and checked me up and all that sort of thing. And they said, no, you haven't had a stroke, thank goodness. But it turned out what I had was transient global amnesia. I know it sounds weird, it's kind of like a soap opera type thing, but I actually had temporary amnesia. And this thing lasts from about 6 to 8 hours. They say they see about 5 cases in 100,000 people per year. So it's rare, but not that rare. They knew what it was. And it goes away. But everything that went on that day is kind of confusing. So Wagner and Tracy have tried to take advantage of that, but I'm on to their tricks. But it was a very interesting experience. It's definitely a wake-up call. And what this showed me firsthand is, how much I take for granted not only my health, but my mental health. So a good wake-up call for myself. Also to take better care of myself so I don't get into the position where I actually have a real stroke, because having permanent memory loss like that would just absolutely suck. So it was another way to appreciate my health and appreciate what I've got and be glad for the mental faculties that I actually do have. All right. So be grateful for what you have, and I hope you have a great week. Take care. All right, hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Canadian Profits TV. Just another reminder, our Rent-Own Summit is coming up very, very quickly. If you are a Rent-Own student or a Creative Profits Club member, there's still time for you to register for that. The event is free for you and a guest. It's the last Rent-Own event, live event we're going to have for a year, so make sure you take advantage of that. And check it all out at r2oprofitssummit.com. Also, coming up in the next couple of weeks at the end of the month, Dan the Man Locke with our special webinar on becoming the obvious expert in your area. Check that out at CanadianProfitsWebinar.com. Have a great week. Talk to you next.